Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hero Movie Podcast, your greatest source for superhero movie discussion in the multiverse. I'm your host, Adam Portress, and joining me today, he too is a donut-eating officer of the law in small-town America, Sweet Sean Kovacs from the internet.
No, I can't help you with that. I'm wasting 2 hours of my life watching Sonic.
And he's read way more Flash comics than Sonic, Bruce Leslie.
I'm a prickly pear. Meet me.
And we are back, everybody. This week we are talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. They said it couldn't be done. They said there's no way. But you know what happens when you wish upon a star, kids? Dreams can come true.
Yes.
Right, Bruce? Isn't it? The dreams are just coming true. But there's a reason why we're doing Sonic the Hedgehog, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But before we do want to say a big thank you to those of us that support us over at patreon.com/HMP. Doesn't matter what level you're at, we love you fine people. You get pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone, and of course, each month you get to vote on a movie that we watch. So this week, let's go over the movies that we had. Okay, these were the options. Coming in at the very bottom of it all is Ninja Scroll. They were not interested in us reviewing that. So
I wanted to see that.
Though at the same time, too, our buddy Matt Schnapp says, Ninja Scroll, really? Are you trying to traumatize yourselves? Although it would be funny listening to you trying to keep things family-friendly when discussing it. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I can't really remember.
Hey, we did Ichi the Killer. We can handle Ninja Scroll.
That's fair enough. Coming in tied for the next place, coming in tied for third place here is we've got Lois and Clark and the New Adventures of Superman and the Batman Beyond two-part trailer. And people were not too super enthused with those. However, in second place, we have Justice League Dark, but miles ahead, of course, was Sonic the Hedgehog. And here's what a couple of people have said about this. Vote hot on Sonic to make Sweet Shanzi from the internet. We have became Patreon to vote for Sonic. Joe apologizes and says, "Oh no, Sean, I tried." Justin says, "I need HMP guys talking about Sonic the Hedgehog in my life." And John also wrote, "I haven't listened to the whole podcast yet, but votes for Sonic seem like the way to go." And but that is all of our Patreon people get to vote on a movie that we watch every month, and so this we have chosen Sonic the Hedgehog. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes, but we do have 3 more people joining our ranks today, 2 old and 1 new. Let's start with the new one. Our first new Patreon supporter is Brock Northey, coming in at $7 of whatever Australian money is. I guess I'm gonna get like a wallaby in the mail or something the next week. I don't know how that works, but Brock wrote in and said, "I finally became a Patreon supporter just to vote for Sonic the Hedgehog." Enjoy that damp grape, Sean. Cheers, Brock from Australia.
Well, thank you, Brock. Thank you so much. I am glad that you are a supporter, even if it's for nefarious means.
Adam, when the money gets here, tell me if Paul Hogan's face really is on the Aussie dollar.
Will do.
Boy, you guys are just checking all those boxes.
Yeah,
today.
we are.
Wow.
We need more Aussie listeners, to be frank.
I'm gonna wait, like fingers crossed for a shrimp on the Barbie reference.
It's coming.
That movie had Cheech Marin in it.
So it sure did. So Brock Northey, now that you are part of HMP, you get an HMP nickname. And as is my want to do lately, I try to do a little bit of research either on the person or on the name itself. And since Brock, I don't know which Brock you are, I went with a little research. There is a college in Canada that is Brock University. And they're known, their mascot name is the Badgers, and they are the Brock Badgers. So Brock Northey, your HMP nickname is now Badger Brock.
I like it.
Congratulations.
Badger Brock. All right. Okay. Up next, we got our buddy Tom Jensen. Tom actually upped his support and writes in, "I just upped my pledge to $5. Frankly, you guys deserve a lot more. Don't know if I've ever been christened with a superhero nom de plume, but allow me to lighten your load. Since junior high, my nickname has been Tweet. I beefed it up and changed it to Tweetinator. Thank you for the boys." We'll see about that. Thank you for the Boys 30 Questions podcast. Although I must say, after watching 4 episodes, last season was a little better. The podcast is awesome, of course. Love the show and carry on. What do we have for Tom?
So, Tom, you can go with tweet if you want, of course. That's always your want.
Tweetinator. I believe in the right of self-identification.
There's no way I'm doing that. No.
I knew that was going to be
not.
a no-go, so I didn't even have to.
Absolutely not. You can either go by tweet or you can go by your new HMP nickname. See, Tom, here's the thing, is I'm snooping around. Tom Jensen is this guy who on August 31st of last year retired from being the fire marshal at the Adena Fire Department, where he was the fire marshal for 31 years. And his name also happens to be Tom Jensen. And so I said, you know what? That's a pretty great name, Fire Marshal Jensen. So you can either go with that or you can go with tweet. It's up to you, sir.
I say Fire Marshal-inator.
Fire Marshal Jensen it is. And finally, she found us first on Preacher Podcast and hasn't looked back since, and I think she actually has the record for most HMP merch ever bought. You've heard the name. She's back on Patreon. This time we'd like to actually give her a correct nickname. Maria from upstate New York. Sean, what do you have for our long listener, Maria?
Maria, this is what I know about you. I know that you're a mom. I know that you love your kid. And I know that you love David Tennant. And you especially love David Tennant when he is the doctor. And so your HMP nickname from this point forward is going to be Dr. Tennant.
Oh, I like that.
All right, so that is it, everybody. We've got Dr. Tennant and Fire Marshal Jensen. And what was the first one again? I got to write them all down here.
Badger Brock.
Badger Brock. All right, so we have got all of those. If you too would like to get yourself a HMP nickname, pre-show, post-show, dinger zone, and all that kind of good stuff, why don't you do us a favor? Head on down to patreon.com/HMP and join up at any rate today, big or small. Make it something that means something to you. And, of course, if Mighty Tights all we ask you to do, just go over there and review us on iTunes. We got a couple of those in today. 5-star review, aka Humdingas.
Humdinger.
Speaking of which, this one comes to us from Hockey LAX Don 2012. 5 stars, entitled Good Show. This one reads as follows. My mom had me listen to Godzilla vs. Kong episode, and I've listened while with her in the car. You did a good job, but how did you not know the names of the characters? My mom has listened for years, and I said I should review and listen more. I think I will. That's from Donovan from upstate New York. Little Hockey Don. That's Maria's son.
Maria's a hockey mom.
Yeah,
I knew that.
She is.
So that's, and again, we say whether it's your own child or your grandma or somebody, grab their phone, make them review the podcast. We appreciate
I hate to sidetrack us, but I still remember when she made her husband leave us a voicemail on Preacher Podcast.
Oh, it was great.
And I think he was inebriated.
He had a couple. He was like, "Hey, what's up?" Oh boy, it was some of the best we ever heard. It was so great.
That's awesome.
We got another 5-star review here. This one's coming to us from Living Large 97. Is entitled "The Most Fun Podcast I've Ever Listened to." It reads as such. A few months ago, I was looking for any podcast I could find that would entertain me, because I'm now an old dude in my 40s that thinks all new music is trash and won't listen to a bit of it. I feel you. I came across the Hero Movie Podcast through their 30 Questions podcast about Loki, and I must say I was more pleasantly surprised to find a podcast I love almost as much as Loki loves a lady variant of himself.
Still creepy.
It's been great listening to all of their recent stuff and diving into some of the older stuff as well. Thanks for the hours of entertainment, guys. That comes to us from Justin St. Kitts Strawn.
Hell yeah, St. Kitts. How are you, buddy?
They got a veterinary school there.
I heard this weird guy from work told me.
Internet person.
I will tell you that one of my favorite things back when I was a working comic was that people would and it was always dudes who would come up after shows. It was never ladies that would say this. They'd be like, "Look, man, I got to tell you, I did not want to come here tonight. She forced me to go. And I am really glad that she brought me, because this was great. And I am now a fan, and I'm going to be coming back again." That was always my favorite review of our show ever. And now that it's happening on the podcast, we're like, my mom told me to listen to this show. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Those are the best reviews in my opinion. That are like 5 stars. They're great. Like the perfect.
Yeah, not bad. Boom. We got one more here. This one comes to us. This one we had a while back, but I guess we never really read it. And it's entitled, "Did I Hear a Hum and a Ding?" This is from Trillinus. There may be a dirty word in there. I don't know. 5 stars. I love this podcast and its wonderful trio of hosts. There's Adam Portress, the driving force behind it, who always works hard to entertain and bring us the best podcast he possibly can. Next, there's Bruce Leslie, and he's my favorite example of a person who, like myself and many others, probably didn't grow up so much as he only got taller. You don't know Bruce. He's pretty short. And he is all the more lovable for it. Finally, there's the guy I believe to be experiencing his very own clone saga, Sean Kovacs. We can always count on Sean to fill episodes with admirable, honest, straight talk and sly comments. Get it? Sly SLY comments. There we go.
Boom!
I love you guys. Matthew, Secular Man, Van Diver. Secular Man, thank you for that review, man. It's been quite some time, and we'd like to encourage everyone else to go over there and drop a 5-star review, a.k.a. Humdingum.
Dang it.
And we appreciate that. And you know what? Gosh, since it's been a while, let's go ahead and do it. What do you say?
Bale's here.
This show's jam-packed worth of stuff, guys.
It sure is.
This one comes to us from Joe. You know Joe. Joe writes in, "Hey guys, as always, love the show and so appreciative for you guys doing it. As a butcher, most of my workday is spent in a cooler listening to a fan blow and bone saws cut through bone. So to keep myself from going crazy, maybe I'm a little late on that front, I have turned to podcasts to get me through my day. I would love to go back through your catalog and record all of your Robin ratings for every movie/TV show you've ever reviewed. It'll give me something to focus on during a couple of 6 and 7 hour day weeks and that I have upcoming. I just wanted to make sure that the Amazing Spider-Man #2 was the first podcast on May 4th, 2014, and that there are no special episodes that are Patreon exclusives." Okay.
No.
Okay, so first and foremost, as far as like Robin ratings and all that system, the main show proper is the only place for that to go. And I'll say this, Joe, you are reading my dreams here. So Joe, that's from Joe's Stimul Time, Joe S. Everybody,
Now,
It's Stimul-time, baby.
That was such a wonderful email, but I was worried at first because I thought he was going to say I spend my day listening to fans blow and bone saws, and even that's better than your podcast. Like, I thought it was going to take a dark turn.
My mom didn't write the letter. Come
If
on.
I would have known that Joe was a butcher, I would not call him Stimul-time. I would call him Bone Saw.
He's ready.
Oh man.
Bone Saw's ready.
But yes, this Amazing Spider-Man 2 was our first episode. There was no more previous than that, and you are doing a thing that I always wanted to do, but I'm too lazy to do, so you will always be in my heart for that, because I wanted to make a big list of everything and all the kind of stuff, but at this point, it's too far in for me to do it. But if someone else wants to do it, I love you forever. All right, so that is, let's close up the old mailbag.
Bale's here.
It's just been a while.
Yes. I also, there's also another thing with this, which is that I don't think that we started the Robin rating right away, right? Like we came up
I
with it
think
on the
we
show.
did. It was the Stallone connection that we didn't start till later.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, but I think we already had it in our mind to do the Robin rating from day one.
We had,
I
or
seem to
something
remember.
somewhat
I seem to
similar.
remember doing it on the show, like we had a discussion about it.
Yeah,
on
it
the
was
show.
it was almost one of those, like a lot of decisions that we make. It comes right in the spare of the moment where we're just
Yeah.
like, well, should we do this? Okay, sure, I guess. That's what we're doing this week, everybody.
And also, Stimul-time, there is 2 other things you need to know. One is that Adam had a podcast before everybody got together, and that podcast is where we all met, and
Yeah.
it was for Captain America: Winter Soldier. Is that
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
the first, I guess you could call it kind of the first pre-HMP episode where we're all three together is on the Film Find for Captain
The
America.
proto HMP.
Yeah. Not
And
always
then-
family friendly for everybody.
Yeah,
just to
it's
let
got
you
adult
know.
language.
There's a little,
And then when it came to the Patreon stuff, that show we went through all of the Matrix movies and all of the Fast and the Furious movies, and all of the Mission Impossible movies, but I don't think we rated them. Right?
Yeah, all we did was rank them.
Yeah, we just did a ranking system at that point, but so nothing official there. But boy, would I like that. So, and of course, if you have an email that you'd like to share with us, hearmoviepodcast@gmail.com. Oh, also, one more quick thing again, just before we get into it, and we'll get into the movie here. But we were asked about like Twitter stuff and all that kind of good stuff for all of our links and everything. If you just go to the show notes in whatever app that you're in, the links for all of those things are always in there, just to let everybody know. Okay, let's get into it. Here is the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog.
I'm Sonic, a little ball of super energy in an extremely handsome package. On my planet, people were always after my powers, so I came to yours. It gets a little lonely, but that's okay. I am living my best life on Earth. Ow! Let the place Sonic! Let the pitcher's mound also Sonic! Ugh, I can't with that guy. Uh-oh. Why are you hiding out in my garage? They're coming for me! If they steal my power, they could conquer the universe. You have to help me. No, I don't. Please, it's life or death.
Good morning, my rural chum.
Mr. Dr. Robotnik. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to tell me where it is.
Wait! Don't hurt him! Road trip?
This can't be happening to me.
Oh my God, stop the car right now! What? The world's largest rubber band ball? We gotta see it!
No, this is not some fun family road trip.
You're right. It was lame. Gift shop was cool, though.
Whatever this creature is, I'm going to uncover the source of its power.
Yeah, hey.
I just thought you might like a latte with steamed Austrian goat milk. Of course I want a latte. I love the way you make them!
We gotta lay low. Let me show you how it's done. So should we get out of here?
Yeah, time to go.
I always want to do this. Nailed it! Uh-oh. Let's go! Here comes the boom!
How are you not dead?
I have no idea!
Oh, give me a big fat break!
Alrighty, that was the trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, I'm sure some people are screaming at their internet devices saying, Adam, Sonic isn't a comic book. Well, hush your mouth, kid, and listen to this.
It's time for Bruce's Comic Book Connection.
Bruce, what do we got?
You may know that I collect original comics pages. And by that, I mean the actual Bristol board with pencil and ink applied by the hand that eventually becomes the pages you see in the comic you buy at the shop. And I don't have a lot of pages, but the ones I have, I'm proud of. But you might be surprised to know that the character whose pages I have the most of is Sonic the Hedgehog, specifically the Archie Comics run of Sonic the Hedgehog. And you might ask, why, Bruce? Why do you have so many Sonic pages? Well, the answer is simple. Sonic inker Jim Amish was always at Heroes Con, and he's a really nice person, and the pages he had for sale were very reasonably priced. Also, my sons have been very big Sonic the Hedgehog fans through the years, so they were excited to get them also. But in my opinion, the Archie Comics run of Sonic is the golden run for Sonic. Archie published the adventures of the world's fastest hedgehog from 1992 to 2016 in both standard and digest-sized adventures. Strangely enough, this property that spanned 24 years was originally planned as a 4-issue miniseries, but the comics flew off the shelves faster than a blue hedgehog running through a loop-de-loop, so the comic just kept going. In fact, it became the longest continuously running licensed comic with issue 276, surpassing the legendary Bronze Age comic Marvel's Conan the Barbarian. So I guess it's got that going for it. So with that brief comic book connection, Adam, do you have a list?
Yeah, if that wasn't enough, let me sell everybody on Sonic the Hedgehog, because this movie's got everything. We got the Green Hill Zone, James Marsden with an animated creature which one day will become a genre unto itself. We got a Jim Carrey performance that straddles that line of love him or hate him. Ben Schwartz may finally have a role that makes you not think of him as John Ralphio. We got magic blue hair, deep Sonic quotes with "Oh no." Sergeant Sprinkles, Officer Brain Fart, the town crazy wielding a chainsaw, one-man Sonic baseball game, line dancing, dart throwing, mechanical bull riding, a barroom brawl, 2 Sonic versions of a Quicksilver slow-mo sequence, dashboard harpoon, fainting humor, an Apocalypse Now reference, and product placement for Zillow, Olive Garden, twice, Costco, Amazon, Fitbit, Mellow Yellow, which is a Coke product, of course. And then we, of course, also have to tell China we want their money as well. So we put the big wall in there as well. And the most fictional part about this entire movie, people actually want to move to San Francisco. This movie's got everything.
On a cop's salary, nonetheless.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're going to stop your job as a vet so you can go to San Francisco and be a cop and scoop poop off the street? What are you, silly? Get out of here.
Live in a squat. Yeah.
No, thank you. Let me ask you guys this, because I feel you guys are a couple years older than I am, and I feel like when the Sega Genesis came out, like you guys were the proper age for that.
I think so.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I was in college when the Sega Genesis came out, or at least was popular, and my buddy had a couple of games, but the game that we all played all the time was Sonic, that first one, and it was amazing. It's an amazing game. I don't know how it holds up. I'm going to imagine that it holds up fairly well because they've tried to remake that game like a million times.
Yeah, some of them good, some of them bad, and like they've done some really great Sonic games as of recent, and some really really awful ones as well. But I think we were like a Super Nintendo family because we were like a little bit younger, and Nintendo tended to go towards a little bit more young. And then when Genesis came out, it did seem like the more like, teenage kids would have that. And there's like a chance that you could get Mortal Kombat on it. And so, oh no, you can't have that one. That one's over there. So we were never one of those. I got into Sonic with Sonic 2 on the Game Gear of all things. I love the Game Gear, by the way. That was it ate batteries like a monster, but you've never had anything so fun that I don't know if you guys ever had one of these. They used to make these shells for like portable consoles and stuff, be it Game Gears or Game Boy or whatever. You could put this plastic shell around the entire thing, and it would magnify it and waterproof it and like make your speakers bigger. It had all this crap.
Wow.
I literally took the Game Gear into the shower once because you could.
I had a Game Gear. I had a Game Gear for a week because I went home over Christmas break from college, and going home to me was like a town of 2,500 people, and there was absolutely nothing to do. So I went to Walmart, bought a Game Gear, took it home, put the batteries in it, played like this football game on it for a week. And then before I went back to college, I put it back in the box, took it back and returned it. And I said, I got this for my brother, but he got one from somebody else. So I'm returning this and got my money back. That's the
back in the day. It worked. We played a lot of Mortal Kombat 2 and Sonic 2. Any games with 2 on them, we were all about them.
Also, Bruce, you brought up during the comic book connection that your boys like Sonic. My girls loved that comic book because to try to get them into comic books, I would take them to the store and they would always grab the same thing. They would grab Sonic and they would grab whatever they were watching at the time, but the comic book version of it.
Yeah, we had lots of Sonic. That was the only comic really my kids would get. I think they might have picked up like a Mario comic or two, but they really liked Sonic, and they would watch like the old Sonic cartoon from like 93, and then they would watch the Sonic anime that's a little more recent. Yeah, they had a real long Sonic stretch there. They would try to spin dash in the hallway. It was a big disaster.
Yeah, we watched a lot of the cartoon and stuff as well, and of course, if you got my boy Urkel on as Sonic, you can't much beat that.
And I mean, we've got every plushie imaginable. Sonic Shadow in multiple sizes and colors. There's like a Sonic the Werehog. We've got that. We've got Knuckles, Tails. I don't know, man. We got an extensive collection of Sonic plushies over the years.
It's been nuts, this Sonic thing. Now, going into this movie had a very notable first trailer when it came out. It came out, and then everyone got their first look at Sonic and abruptly threw open their mouths.
He kind of looked like a possum. He had the sharp teeth. He had the weird features.
Tiny little super pointy nose and stuff.
I wonder if we'll ever get to see that version of this movie.
I doubt it, man. I just doubt it.
Put it alongside the Eric Stoltz Back to the Future stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's one of those weird things where all that may not even, like, do they even save the digital copies of that original movie?
I feel like it's got to. Though someone had to have saved off a thing at some point. Like, I'm sure that it exists out there, whether we'll actually ever see it, but I mean, they did the entire thing, and no one once during that entire process had the gumption to stick up their hand and go like, "Hey, man, so not for nothing, this looks like garbage." And
do you think they were trying to make like an edgy Sonic for a new generation? Like what do you think they were even going for? Like, why not make Sonic just look like Sonic from the beginning?
I think I have this one. Is that I think that, like, remember when they came out with the Spider-Man musical, and it had literally nothing to do with the comic book. It was just a guy in a Spider-Man costume,
pretty much,
and a bunch of people died.
And, right, and they were kind of like, we didn't. This isn't from the comic book. This is a new spin on a classic character, like that kind of thing.
Like, we don't want that. No one wants that.
But I think that that's basically what happened with the Hedgehog movie, is that they basically are like, we're like, you know what? Like, this is our 2 bits. This is what we're going to do with it. And everybody in the world who's a Sonic fan was basically like, no, you're not going to do that.
Like, the idea, like, everyone was kind of down for a live action Sonic movie. It sounded like a lot of fun, and then you're going to have Jim Carrey in there as Eggman, and you're like, okay, this sounds like a really crazy idea. And you see Jim Carrey in the trailer as Eggman, and he doesn't look like the Eggman that we all know, Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah, not until the very end.
He doesn't look like him to the end. But so we all kind of go like, all right, so it's going to be a little bit of a different take. And then we see Sonic, and it's so bad, the internet just has a conniption. It becomes just this huge meme that is like super fantastic. I loved it when they put like Nicolas Cage's face on Sonic, and they did everything. Yes. You name it, it was put in there. They're like, put Uganda Knuckles in there as Sonic, anything other than what we got. And then the people over at Paramount were like, oh crap, we've made a horrible decision, and gone back and redid the entire bit of Sonic, and he is the main character. He's in just about every single scene almost. So the fact that the internet complained, and not only did they listen, they changed it up and made it the correct way. I think it's one of the most powerful things that nerds have done in some time, and like, It also kind of scares me about how much that, these people were willing to back off and change that just on account of people were angry with it.
Well, thank goodness they did it, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's way better. Don't get me wrong. I'd much rather prefer this, because I went back and rewatched that first trailer, and it is like, whew.
Well, you already know my feelings on this. I've mentioned this a million times. Show me something that is a terrible nightmare of a movie, or show me something great. Don't show me something middle of the road. And so as I was watching this, I was like, man, I can only imagine how great this movie would be if you're trying to take your kids to this movie. Sonic is this really ugly, like this really ugly thing that'll really like just stick right up there with like 80s kids who were traumatized by Gremlins,
Labyrinth and stuff.
Right, or the guy who gets caught in the propeller blade in Indiana Jones.
Hey,
like
Large Marge is my nightmare.
That was mine, boy. Oh,
was it?
Oh yeah, Large Marge. Like, because Pee-wee's Big Adventure was the first movie I remember seeing on the big screen, and that did not help me a lot.
I, for some reason, was deathly afraid of the series of Bedding Barn commercials that they had where I was growing up, where they would throw mattresses at this guy and he would catch him and throw him off screen. And I was so worried that he was going to die from getting a bed thrown at him that I couldn't watch, and I would run out of the room.
Oh, wow, man. Your pathology goes deeper than mine on that one.
Of all things that you could get thrown at you, too, though, a bed is the thing that, like, like a mattress is something that we get worried about. It's the softest thing ever.
there's no there's no logic to a 5-year-old.
No, he's gonna be killed with that bat. No, thank you.
He's gonna get killed with a bed.
So going into this, Sean, clearly, as our Patreon people have noted, you were not looking forward to this one at all. My guess is things probably didn't pan much the other direction, or was this something that might have been better than, at least a little better than perhaps you expected? I don't know.
I hate this movie with a blinding passion. I hate it. There's
James Marsden wasn't enough to save it for you.
Look, Marsden acting alongside a little CGI creature. We've seen that before. We've done that already. But the one thing that saves this movie is Carrey to me. Jim Carrey in this movie. Every time he's on screen, I put my phone down because I want to see what's going on. Because whether you like Jim Carrey or hate Jim Carrey, for the last 30 years, he has been the most gifted physical comic that we have in show business. And so watching him perform, and you might not like his portrayal of Dr. Robotnik or Eggman or, whatever you want to call him, but he is great doing that thing that he's doing. And he's funny and he's nuanced and he's great. And it almost is like he's doing like his version of a sequel to The Grinch.
Yeah. One thing I've always suspected too is like if Jim Carrey has a scene, particularly like a solo scene, because he has a couple of those, that like the second unit director comes in, because there's no point. Like there's no direction going on when Jim Carrey's doing his thing, right?
And I'll tell you also that, Jim Carrey is basically in the career that he should be having now. Like when he was younger and he caught lightning with 3 movies in a row, and then he became one of the most popular people in the world. That was a massive overcorrection with Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey in real life, we are in the right timeline for Jim Carrey's career now, because Jim Carrey always should have been the guy who's playing the comical villain, or like crazy best friend, or like guy who has to give in like info dump in movie. Like he is that guy. He is that actor, and he's always going to knock that out of the park. But when you give him $25 million to be in a comedy where he's screwing around with a bunch of penguins, like that holds no interest for me.
One thing that amazes me about Jim Carrey too is he's like that wonderful kind of actor who doesn't realize his star isn't shiny anymore. You know what I mean? Like when he's in the scene, it's still like in his mind, it's prime Carrey career.
Oh yeah, it's 1995, and Jim Carrey still cannot be stopped. No matter what.
Let him do that. Man.
Oh yeah, no.
I said that in a complimentary fashion, because sometimes you see people and they know that their best years have passed them by, but they're still really trying. But with him, it's like the clock never ticked. Like in his mind, he's still Fire Marshal Bill when he's on camera.
When I was watching this movie yesterday, the one thing I kept thinking about was, if there were a buddy comedy movie now with Brandon Fraser and Jim Carrey, I would be the first person in line to see that movie.
Yeah.
Because there's something about both of those guys as actors. Like Jim Carrey, no one has ever said, boy, that guy really kind of phoned that in.
Yeah, he didn't show up for work today.
And also,
right.
Like with Jim Carrey, he's never doing something for a paycheck. Like I get the idea that he's one of those guys that doesn't actually know how much he's getting paid for anything he's doing, because he's just got that much money.
Right.
And that's kind of nice too.
And so, watching this mediocrity thrown on screen, where everything is precious and stupid and is a waste of our time watching it, and like everything is like, hey, see, that's from the game. Like, so what? Like I do have to say that the voice of Sonic, John Ralphio, it does a great job in this movie as that voice, because he is annoying and he's supposed to be annoying, but he's not so annoying that you hate the character, which is a super fine line to be running on, and he is doing a really great job with that. However, everything that is happening in this movie is stupid.
Now
it is such a waste of time watching this movie. I felt like, what am I doing with my life watching this thing?
I always wonder. I like to throw this question out. I've done it before. I'm going to do it here. But when you've got like super recognizable voice actors from a long running show, like people have done the voice. Well, a person has done the voice of Sonic in multiple incarnations. There's a voice when you close your eyes and you hear Sonic speak. That's the voice. And Ben Schwartz is great, but is it necessary to not just bring in the long-standing Sonic voice actor? Like, do you really have to go Hollywood with this?
I don't know the answer to that, but what I can tell you is that I haven't watched a single second of the Sonic cartoon, and so when if it were still the actor who played Urkel doing the voice,
he never did Sonic.
Oh, he didn't.
I thought no, he did the voice in the 90s. Am I not
Yeah,
wrong?
it's
Lil
totally
White did?
funny.
Okay, well, they've got
White
I
did,
didn't realize that. They've got a more recent Sonic actor.
Okay, because that's the one that I know is that
I really wish they'd gone Jaleel White then. The guy could use the work.
Sure, but
He was in that
why
Big Show
do
show.
we have to suffer for that? And so we're
Would it
suffering
really have
enough.
been worse, John? Would it have been worse?
Yes, it would have, because that is one of the things that this movie has going for it, is that it is a real fine line what Jean-Ralphio is doing. And I'm sorry I keep calling him that. I don't have his name in front of me. And it's one of those things where, like, Ben Schwartz. It's one of those things where, like, as I'm watching this film.
Thank you.
As I'm watching Sonic the Hedgehog the movie.
The cinema that is.
Right. The someone's special vision and needed to tell their story. Ben Schwartz is doing a fine job. The problem is everyone else in the movie has nothing to do. Like, literally no one else has anything to do except for Schwartz and Jim Carrey. They're the only reason to watch this thing, which is probably good because they're the two mains. But everything else around it, I don't care that he's the sheriff of this town. I don't care that he's nice. I don't care that his wife is the vet. I don't care that his sister-in-law hates him. I don't care that he's really kind to animals and to small children. Yes, of course he is, because that's exactly what this movie is. You don't need to show me any of this. You could just give me a beat by beat blow in the first 30 seconds. Look, this is what you're going to see. You'd already know you're going to see this because that's the movie that you've signed up for. And now for 2 hours, we're going to do that. And occasionally Jim Carrey's going to come in and save us.
I mean, I guess if James Marsden had been kicking squirrels, it might be a different movie.
Yeah, although I do have to say it was very odd to see Adam Pally in this movie, because
I thought he was great though. I had fun with him.
He's one of those dudes where, like, you know him from everything. He's the guy from Iron Man 3, as I said. Please don't shoot me. I hate being here. This guy is weird. I will always know him as that. And so whenever I see him in something else, I'm like, man, that guy's great. And so to see him in this, basically playing the David Arquette role in a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, I was like, oh wow, Adam Pally has market corrected David Arquette now, because David Arquette's too weird and probably too old at this point.
He needs a blood sacrifice on set at all times, so it's a little tougher to book.
It'd be kind of weird with David Arquette as like the deputy for James Marsden, who doesn't really age.
Right. Well, and I don't know what's going on there. I'm guessing that him and Paul Rudd have some sort of demonic pack happening, I'm guessing.
Yeah, they go to the same demonic dermatologist. Now, I got to say, I like Marsden in this movie, and I don't usually like Marsden. But for some reason, I found this to be like his most charismatic role I've ever seen him in.
Well, there's a lot of that. He does kind of have that problem. I feel like he needs better choices to be made for him. Perhaps maybe he's making them. Maybe someone else is making them. I don't know.
Cyclops was so unlikable in those X-Men movies, and then he plays a total doormat in season 1 of Westworld, and that's about the only 2 things I remember him from. I know he's been in other stuff. I've never seen the Straw Dogs remake.
It's fair. Like, you've got the other one. I don't know why you need it.
But I mean, he's not Dustin Hoffman.
No.
So I don't know. I guess I've never really liked James Marsden, but then I really found him likable in this movie.
He is his best role is in 30 Rock. He is the Mac in 30 Rock. I love him in that show. James Marsden also has the same problem that Chris Pine has, where he's so good looking, he can't be an average guy. And so like, oh really? You got a lot of problems with that face? You're having a whole
super
ton of
handsome
problems
man.
opening doors. Yeah, I find that very hard to believe. I would imagine that walking down the street of San Francisco, you're getting 15 cards from photographers and stuff. I just need to shoot you for free, like stuff like that. And it's the same thing with Chris Pine, where whenever they're playing normal guys, there is a like a suspension of disbelief you have to have, because someone who is that pretty does not have the everyday man problems.
I do like the way Wonder Woman 84 handled it by having him look in the mirror and see that goofy looking guy.
But that's fine. That works. But
that's Chris Pine, of course, not right. James Marsden.
No, I know. But like
It'd be great if Chris Pine looked in the mirror and saw James Marsden. He's like, this is a lateral move.
He's like, all right, not bad.
Hey, it's the guy I'm always up for roles against.
I hate that guy.
Because I think that they're basically on the same level, like those two guys. You know, Chris Pine's gotten a couple of more wins in his pocket.
I mean, Chris Pine was Kirk. I think that puts you above Marsden as Cyclops. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a bigger,
they
better
both
role.
got their key roles in nerd stuff, though.
And Chris Pine also is in one of the best little movies of all time called Hell or High Water.
Is that the bank robbery movie?
Yeah.
And he is so good in it.
But okay, so the big thing for me is that like it just, this movie was just fun. I love the way that they handled the rings. That could have been something really stupid and dumb, and at least with this you understand why he would have the rings and making them portals and stuff, and having, you know, the big fight with him and Robotnik going through the portals and stuff, going to different points and stuff on Earth and stuff. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the movie 3 times. So
oh my
it's
Lord,
got its fun moments. Like I enjoy it's stupid stuff, but I enjoy the fact that like James Marsden stops to use a payphone. He gets out of the car, totally doesn't notice the raucous biker party going on directly across this very small gravel road. Like I like how this like flames are shooting out of the top of the biker bar, and he doesn't notice it when he gets out of the car to go to the payphone. Like it's just got stuff that's so stupid that I almost think it's like Pee-wee's Big Adventure level, like stupid on purpose.
How dare you? How dare you?
I love the fight in there, you know, when you get his Quicksilver scene. I had some fun with it.
Oh, come on. You got to admit.
And first of all, guys, I know that we're nerds. We got to call it the Quicksilver scene. The Quicksilver scene is stolen from Over the Hedge. I mean, that they will tell you, oh, we took this idea. The people who made X-Men will tell you, oh, we took this idea from Over the Hedge.
Which is awesome.
And that is an awesome movie. And that scene is so funny that for years and years and years, I would say, you don't even have to see the movie, just see this scene. And it's amazing. Anyway, so when I see that happen twice in this movie, and I'm like, because your mediocrity is so out in the open that you are literally stealing from a movie that did this better, by the way, 15 years ago. How dare you not only do it once, but you stole the idea twice.
It's like you go see the Beach Boys and they play Good Vibrations as their 3rd and 8th song of the set. It's like everybody loves this song. Let's just play it again.
We got to work on those similes. But I think that
just last week you said I was good at it.
Well, the mighty have fallen.
But I think that the there's something to be said for that. That is exactly what this movie is. And by the way, Bruce, I know that you have scenes about this movie that you like. So when the little girl ends up making Sonic's shoes for him,
that was so sweet.
And you were like, yes, when that happened, when he puts them on for the first time, and they're trying to tug at your heartstrings with the "Everybody Should Be Sad Now" music that's playing, and he puts the shoes on, and he's like, no one's ever given me a gift before, or whatever he's saying.
Yeah, like
he's British now.
He's got the Dobby house elf thing going on, man. He's
Yep.
ready to go. At this point, I'm all about it.
Are you really? So you were like, you Adam Portress, you were sitting there, I'm guessing super high, and you're watching this movie, and you're like, yes, Sonic finally has the correct.
How about when he gets on the elevator and he's got Sonic in the duffel bag, and they go, do you have a kid in that duffel bag? Do you have your kid in that duffel bag? And he goes, oh, it's not my kid.
That part's funny.
I
That's
like
a funny
that.
line.
That's good stuff.
But I got to tell you, because I had never seen a trailer. The second trailer, like the, I've seen, of course, the terrible trailer many times for Sonic, but I never saw the course corrected one. So I did not know that joke is in the trailer where Jim Carrey's character goes, "Yes, of course, I want your lattes. They are fantastic." Like, I love that scene. Made me howling. I was laughing so loud.
I do kind of want to watch like a 1991 indie film of Sonic where they've got like a guy in a Ninja Turtle-esque rubber costume trying to do the Sonic stuff.
Oh, my word.
That would be great.
Yes.
Oh, man. Warwick Davis would be in that suit running around. They do things where they make it look like he's running fast like they did when Clark Kent was racing the train and it looks so fake.
He's
or
just
the adult version of that kid Ernie, who would be in I can't remember his last name, but first name was
Ernie Reyes Jr.
Yes, Ernie Reyes Jr. Like the adult version of him is Sonic.
I love it.
Oh, he's still alive, right? He's got to be.
He was in one of the Ninja Turtles movies.
Well, no, for sure. But I just wonder if he's
I'm
still
sure he's
one of the modern ones.
No. One of the, well, I mean, I consider the originals fairly modern.
Those were 40 years ago.
1990, Bruce.
Yes, exquisite work of modern art.
Yes.
The new Star Trek, the one with Picard.
I hate the new stuff. I don't watch Picard.
Yeah, listen, the thing was a whole bunch of fun, and Jim Carrey is insane, but they opened this thing up for a sequel. Sean, did you stay through the mid-sequence credits?
Well, here's the thing is that I knew it was coming because I knew that there was stingers to the end of this thing. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to fast forward to it. And then once the music
what did you think of the bald-headed walrus mustachioed Jim Carrey? I kind of like the even crazier when he goes full on Robotnik there at the end.
If I know anything about Carrey, he's not going to be on for the sequel probably, but I love his look at the end of it. Yes.
You know what? If there's no Carrey, there's no sequel in my.
I know. I believe Bruce is correct on this. If Jim Carrey's not involved with this, why really do it? I don't.
Well, Idris Elba will bring the kids in.
Idris Elba is Dr. Robotnik
No, he's Knuckles for real.
Well, yeah. So we've got the Knuckles thing. We got the Tails that was in the final bit here and everything as well. So like it's pretty awesome. Like we're getting all of these.
You guys didn't see the casting news this week. I'm not making a joke. Like
Idris Elba
is Knuckles in the sequel, so there's supposed to be a sequel. But if there's no Carrey, man, what's the point?
He is not signed on yet, at least not officially.
No, nothing that was pointed to that then, huh?
Who do you get when Carrey says no?
I don't know.
Like I don't even know that there's
guys. The answer is literally right there.
Matt Frewer.
It's Jamie Kennedy.
Oh, yeah, the Mask, Son of the Mask. I didn't think about that.
Exactly.
Matt Frewer was like, there was a period of time where it was like, you really can't afford. Not only can you not afford Jim Carrey, you can't afford to put a stamp on the envelope to ask him if he'll do it. You hire Matt Frewer.
Do you think that Brian Regan really dodged a bullet there because he probably I know that they wanted to cast him as Jim Carrey all the time and stuff because they're kind of similar facially, but he sure dodged a bullet by not participating in any of that garbage.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move. According to IMDb, he's on the list. So who knows?
Oh, there you go. I didn't think he was officially signed on. I don't know.
I think at this point it's just like you'll give me how much, and I like because if you watch this movie,
I don't. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Adam.
I was going to say, if you watch the movie, you can tell Jim Carrey is not there super long. Like, there's that one set that is like the inside of his, car thing or whatever.
Trailer thing, yeah.
They probably shot on that for a couple of days, and then maybe a couple of days on location with Marsden and what's his face there. But I'm sure he was in and out of this bad boy real fast.
Like, I kind of get the idea with Carrey. It's not really about the money, but it's like you said, you know what? Let me do anything I want for about 3 days, and you take what I give you and you make something out of it.
And
he comes and he has fun.
There's definitely certain like points that you
John
look
Candy
at.
and Home Alone.
Yeah, you look at him and you just go like, oh, that was clearly Jim Carrey's idea. Like when those points certainly are.
Of course.
I got 2 words for you, Jim Carrey. Producer credit.
He might be on the next one.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, oh, well, I'd like a little bit of that Sonic back end, shall we? All right, before we get to our official rating here and everything, we have to ask ourselves one very important question, and that is how this movie relates back 1-to-1 with Sylvester Stallone.
Thank you, Adam Portress. I happen to have one of those prepared statements.
Oh, my.
Woohoo. Dear Mr. Stallone, it's your pal, Sweet Chauncey from the internet. Neil H. Moritz was a producer on the Sonic movie. If his name sounds familiar to you, it should. For the last 20 years, he's produced some of the biggest television shows and movies that have hit our culture. TV shows like Shasta McNasty.
Yeah.
And Prison Break.
Oh, I liked Prison.
And something called Save Me, which ran for 6 episodes in 2013. But he's also connected to the Fast and the Furious franchise, and he works very closely with our nation's finest actor, Mark Sinclair. They've worked together on 11 different movies, seeing as how it took 14 different producers to make Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. I'm going to guess that he worked around the clock to get his vision off the ground. The man wanted to make a movie, a Hedgehog movie. By God, that's what we got. We got ourselves a Hedgehog movie. But here is how Neil Moritz is connected to you, Mr. Stallone. He's the executive producer on the remake of your 1993 movie Cliffhanger, the movie that asked the question, what if Die Hard, but on a mountain? And everyone in 1993 was like, hell yes, Die Hard on a mountain. Well, today, Neil Moritz wants to remake your movie, but with Jason Momoa as the lead. Jason Momoa has been acting since 1999 when he was on Baywatch, but I think the jury might still be out on whether that guy's still a good actor, because I've seen in him some things. I'm like, yeah, he's not bad in that. And then other times I see him in a movie where he's saying things like, my man, and pretends he can talk to fish, and he's utterly ridiculous in the role. But Mr. Stallone, if you're worried about the remake of Cliffhanger, and if it's going to be any good, just keep in mind that Neil H. Moritz was the guy behind the wheel of the 2012 remake of Total Recall. The movie that asked the question, what if we get rid of everything that made that original movie awesome? And they did it. By God, the people who made that movie really understood what they were doing. Yeah. Let's make sure every single thing that made the original movie fun and visionary and distinct, let's pull all that out of the movie and let's make it a dour, uninspired snoozer that is basically the film equivalent of Limp Bizkit. And speaking of Limp Bizkit, if I may for a moment, they were an exceptionally popular band in the early 2000s. They sold millions of albums, sold out arenas on tour, and yet, if you ask anyone, anywhere, ever, if they were a fan of Limp Bizkit, no one will cop to the fact that they were a fan of Limp Bizkit. Now, I don't want to make it sound like all that Neil H. Moritz does is produce terrible movies that waste everyone's time, because, yes, that is what Sonic is. But he's also made movies like Adam Sandler's Click.
Hey.
And Torque. And
yes, Torque is great.
Volcano. And Evan Almighty, and The Bounty Hunter, and Battle Los Angeles, and R.I.P.D. See, Mr. Stallone, you have nothing to worry about. Cliffhanger is in very good hands. Now, Mr. Stallone, we've reached the end of another segment of the Stallone Connection. I hope you enjoyed the ride, because I know that I did. I'll do better next week. I hope to hear from you soon. Your very good internet friend, Sweet Chauncey, from the internet.
No less. Yes, here at Hero Movie Podcast, we have our own patented Robin rating system. If you'd like to check on that out, head on over to reddit.com/r/Hero Movie Podcast. It's right there at the top of the screen. Links are in the show notes, as always. Bruce, where does Sonic the Hedgehog fall on the Robin rating system for you?
Peter Capaldi. He could be a poor man's Jim Carrey, right?
Imagine him. By the way, 2 quick hot seconds here. Did you guys see the Peter Capaldi sketch that he gave James Gunn at the end of production?
No.
It is amazing. I'll send you a picture of it. But
please, I don't know about it at all.
Peter Capaldi drew this amazing thing. But go ahead. Bruce, okay. So what was your grade?
So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog. I watched it 3 times. Never really got bored. Never really got ecstatic. Like, it's good for your blood pressure. It doesn't make you seethe in rage. It doesn't make you too excited. It's just, it's kind of like Campbell's soup out of the can. It's not great, but there's worse things you could be eating.
You could be eating dirt.
I'll admit the first 2 times I saw it involved my kids. The third time involved the show. It's not like I sat alone and watched it 3 times. But if, as a movie you're watching on behalf of your kids, you could definitely do worse. And with the track record that video game movies have, this is probably one of the top 2 video game movies ever made. So it deserves some special acknowledgement for that. But at the end of the day, it's still, I mean, Damian Wayne is kind of, I think, where this movie belongs.
All right. Sean?
This movie's a Jason Todd. It's terrible. It is wasting everyone's time. I would love to see a supercut scene, though, on YouTube or something of all of the Jim Carrey scenes together, because he really is terrific in this movie. And I love that they just let him go. Do what he wants to do. I do enjoy it, and it worked for this movie.
And I think it could be even more insane in this sequel that's coming up, because once he's been in like Crazy Town and everything for a while, you can dial whatever he did in this movie and just make it even bigger.
Well, I'm just glad that he's not trying to be a dour, serious actor. Like, I'm glad that he's just like, you know what, this is the thing I do, and this is what I do best, and this is what I'm known for.
It's what people love you for.
That's what you should be doing, dude. Like, nobody wants to see you dark and broody anymore. Like, you did that for a couple of years. Like, let's move on from here.
Yeah.
So it's a Jason Todd, though.
For me, I enjoy this movie. It's one of those, it was just before the pandemic when this thing came out and everything. And I didn't get to watch it in the theater, but like there was something about it where I really wanted to support the fact that we all complained as the internet, and they said, you know what, we screwed up, let's make it right. And they made it look fantastic. They made Sonic look exactly how he was supposed to. And I'm like, I feel like I got to put some money behind that. So when it came out on Blu-ray for cheap, I picked it up and everything and watched it several times and was surprised at how much I really enjoyed this stupid little movie. But it's not perfect or anything. But I certainly didn't mind having to watch it this week. This is a low Tim Drake for me. So there you go. Well, that will do it for this episode of Hero Movie Podcast. I will talk about what we're doing next week in just a moment. I think you might know. But in the meantime, Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet?
I'm still pushing people towards my YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/Bruce Leslie. Today, I just released a reaction video to an Attack on Titan episode that is a fan favorite, episode 6 of season 2. If you're a fan of Attack on Titan, you know which episode that is. Go check it out. People have been enjoying it this afternoon.
Sean, what else?
We have a podcast called 30 Questions, where each week we ask 30 questions of some nerdy property. Sometimes it's a Star Wars. Sometimes it's a Marvel. Sometimes it's a Watchmen. So just check out 30 Questions. You'll find something that we've reviewed that you like. Do that.
Enjoy it, everybody. Now, next week, we welcome back Marvel to the theaters in this new phase of MCU. We welcome Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings into our lives, and I've only seen the teaser trailer, so I really don't quite know exactly what this is about, but early word is that it's good, so we like to hear that. But you don't want to hear about what those people think. You want to hear what HMP does, right? Yeah, because we're better at that. So patreon.com/HMP. If you like Shang-Chi, let us know. Email us over at the Patreon there, and we'll get you in the show. I want to reach out and see what our listeners think of a lot of the things that we watch, and this is obviously a big one that everybody's going to go out to, so we'll do that. That is it, everybody. Join us next week when we're talking about Shang-Chi for Sweet Sean Kovacs from the Internet. Bruce Leslie, I'm Anna Porters. Stay super, everybody.
I'm Artie Needy.
I'm a shooting star leaping through the sky like a tiger, defying the laws of gravity. I'm a racing car passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, go, go. There's no stopping me. I'm burning through the sky, yeah. 200 degrees, that's why they call me Mr. Fahrenheit. I'm traveling at the speed of light. I wanna make a supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me. supersonic woman of you. Don't stop me, don't stop me, don't stop me. Hey, hey, hey. Don't stop me, don't stop me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't stop me, don't stop me. Have a good time, good time. Don't stop me, don't stop me. Supersonic man out of you. Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball. Don't stop me now. If you wanna have a good time.